am going to share today some of the post-run stretching poses that I do. So I am training for a marathon April 10th. It was supposed to be in Salt Lake City in 2020, and it got deferred to this year or next year, and I just decided to do a virtual marathon in San Diego. So I'm still kind of picking out my route. Most likely we'll start in like La Jolla Shores and go to OB and add in Mission Bay. So we'll see. I'm the route that has the least traffic lights. I joked about running around Fiesta Island. I think it would take me like 6.5 times. I was like, there's cars, there's cyclists and cars and stuff, but I think if I go early enough, I might be able to do it if I can stand it. So I suffered a foot injury last February. I ran a very hilly half marathon in Sedona, and I wasn't quite prepared for the hills. And I think I did okay in the race itself. Everything felt fine. The next day I decided to run a little bit like in the mountains, but like very slow running, just kind of jogging around to do that. I might have done like 4 or 5 miles. Never again. So I got home, started a yoga teacher training, I think that Monday the 3rd or something. And then by Wednesday I was on crutches, not from the yoga, but obviously from the half marathon or the run the next day, that Sunday, for like 2 weeks. I had either peroneal injury or, very rare, could be cuboid bone. I think that's rare. I had an x-ray and it was negative other than like a previous sprain, probably from playing lacrosse in high school. I had a lot of sprained ankles. So anyway, I am happy to be running again, injury-free, and I think a lot of these stretches that I'm doing, I do a lot of like kind of yin yoga where I hold the pose for anywhere from 2 to 6 or 7 minutes, but I kind of like get impatient and I rush them. So goal is to do these exercises after each run, and then I've been doing like some rolling and ball work on the nights before I run. So here it is. I usually start out on my hands and knees, and then what I do is I'll kind of do a little balance like this, so I am getting some stretching throughout the tendons and ligaments in the feet. You can always use a block for balance, or like sometimes I just kind of sit up here. And the goal is usually to hold like a minute in this position. So I feel a really good stretch again in the feet, and then like even in here in my shins. Kind of just holding. A lot of breath work with the yin poses. So just like focusing on the inhales and exhales, maybe lengthening the exhales a little bit. So the 4-7-8 breath work has really helped just like my moods. So if I'm feeling like irritable, it's just like that breath work really helps. So I breathe in 4 seconds. I hold for 7, and then I exhale for 8. And then I usually do like 5 cycles of that, and it just is awesome. So from this position, just putting those blocks down, I kind of bring the feet out and just maybe tap a little bit, get the blood flow. You can bring them back and forth like this. And then what I'm gonna do is just kind of sit on the heels. Sometimes that feels good enough, and that's deep stretch here. Or I lift, and then I'm kind of leaning back where the fingertips are forward toward the feet. And then this just really stretches the feet, the tops of the feet. And again, if that feels too much, this is like pretty good too. Get a little bit of a quad stretch. And then again, I've just been holding these a minute. Some practices, like they work up maybe 2 to 3 minutes or more, but I think a minute, like twice through, is enough at this point. And then just one more set usually. You just really feel like everything working to stabilize. So they're getting stronger down there. Like about 30 to 40 seconds in, I can just feel like some soreness, like in the shins, in this area, like things are working. Okay, and hands down, maybe tap the feet gently, like the tops of the feet, and then shift forward again. So you're sitting into the heels and then lifting back. Woo. And then from this position, I usually bring my legs back. I might have to shift this forward a little bit. So from here, I'll just go into the downward facing dog. So just spreading the fingers apart, lifting the hips, and then shifting back. And just pedaling out the heels. Lifting the hips. Drawing the navel in. And then I really like to focus on just pressing into the heel of my left leg, my left foot. And then even like I can just maybe bring my right foot forward so I can press down a little bit more. And this is just kind of a calf stretch I grew up doing. Just after gym class or like sports, it just always really stretched my calves. And then just switching it out, again pedaling the feet, and then pressing into the right heel, bringing that left foot forward, and just getting a really nice stretch through the right foot. Another option is to even just like bring one foot down and assist in stretching on each side. And this is just really good. Stretching the calves, stretching the hamstrings, and stretching my neck. And then from here, I'm just going to step forward, so into that runner's lunge. So both hands are like middle to the left side of the mat, and then I step my right foot forward, and then just bending the left knee down, uncurling the toes, making sure the heel is aligned nice and straight rather than splaying out left or right and back leg. And then this is just a nice opening through the hip flexor in the front. This one, again, 30 seconds. I'll probably just hold 30 seconds today, but I do 30 seconds to a minute on each side. And you can always use a pillow or like a blanket rolled up or a towel underneath your bottom, the left knee, the knee that's down. And then I'm just going to bring my leg back and then lift up that nice stretch. And then switch legs. So the left leg comes forward to the left side of the hands and then bringing the foot down, uncurling the toes, and then just, again, leaning forward for that right hip flexor area. And then the next series of the hip flexor and hamstring stretch has been actually really helpful, and I like using the blocks for assistance. So I'm just going to have the blocks lined up next to me as I take my leg out, and then just another stretch here. So taking the blocks to each side, you can also use books if you don't have the blocks. And I'm going to extend my left leg forward. So this is my tighter leg. Left leg forward, hamstring stretch. So with this, you can always prop the blocks up higher, lower. If you're more flexible in your back and hamstrings, you may just put the blocks aside and have your hands on the floor. But one of the goals of this is, rather than rounding my spine, I'm trying to just kind of push the hips back a little bit and keep my back flatter. And then draw the toes up toward your body or your chest. And just hold here for several seconds. With this one, like I'll do it a couple times through, maybe like 15 to 30 seconds on each leg. And then from here, I take the blocks forward and then just get that hip flexor stretch through that right side again. So with running, like the hips are the most tight, and then my left hamstrings and calves. So like any of these hip stretches and hamstring stretches are excellent. And then again, 15 to 30 seconds, then I shift back. I just bring these down a little bit, and then the toes flex toward the body, keeping the back flatter, and then just trying to like maybe reach for those toes. Keeping a softness through that straight leg, through that knee, that left knee. And then again, those blocks forward, just watching that bottom knee. You can always have a towel and then bring it forward. So this is how my leg looks. And I just use those blocks. And switching those legs. So the right leg comes up for the hamstring stretch. The toes draw toward you. Nice straight leg, soften the knee. I'm a little more upright here, and then I'm going to hinge a little bit. And then just reaching for those toes. Maybe 3 to 5 breaths with each stretch. And I might hold this, the hamstrings a little bit longer than the hip flexor stretch, since I already did the runner's lunge. And then just shifting forward. So you see the levels of the blocks. And then shifting back again using blocks. And then one more forward. I'll do one more from the hands and knees before getting onto the back. So this is one of my favorites. I really like to incorporate twists in every day. And I'll start out just raising my right arm up toward the sky. So just feeling that nice twist here. My hips stay square. And then option to thread the needle. So you bring the arm down and then extending that left arm. And I'll take 3 breaths here. Bringing my arm to center. And then I'm going to take that left leg and then take it behind the right heel. So like that half moon stretch. And then just open up through the left side, looking over the left toes, or toward the left toes. Oh, this is one of my favorites, through nice stretch in the left side here. And then I bring it to center and then just like circle the hips a little bit or semicircle. And then switching sides. So reaching the left arm up to the sky for that twist. And then threading the needle, extending the right arm. And then lifting up. Going to take that right leg up and then cross it over the left. Gently gazing toward that right leg, the heel and toes. Pushing off from the ground. And then bringing myself back to center and going to transition onto my back. So again, I have my blocks nearby. And right away, just going to go into the supported bridge. So from here, I use my block. This is the first level, and just letting the hips, this is basically my tailbone resting, or sacrum resting on the block, where I have space at my lower back. So just letting myself kind of sink in here. Sometimes I like to just do the legs up the wall and let the blood drain down. Get some circulation down. And then when I'm ready, I usually up my block 1 level. So again, under that sacrum. And then from here, you're extending either one or both legs for that huge opening through the front in those hips. And it's totally fine to lower the block and keep it here and get just a shorter range with that stretch. Still feeling the effects of that stretch here. And maybe 5 breaths. And then I walk my legs up, lift my hips to remove the block. And this is where this twisting just feels so good. I like to keep my feet about hip width, to the width of the mat. So there's space between the knees and the feet. They're pretty wide out. And then I start with a hip stretch before transitioning into the low back. So just kind of maybe 2 or 3 drops to each side. And then I start to walk my feet in. So my feet will touch, my knees will touch, and then I lift my knees so that they're aligned at my hips, and then open. So as my legs come to the left side, I open to my right and I gaze to my right hand. Holding 3 breaths. And then I lift my legs, reset to center, drop them to the right. Again, the knees and hips are aligned, and then the knees and heels are aligned, so they're a little higher And then gazing over toward the left fingers. Just having contact with both hands, shoulders, and my feet and knees. A couple more breaths. And then center. And then just a series of stretches with my left side. So I'm going to just extend my right leg and then just draw my left knee in toward my left shoulder. And this I like to just get my ankle circles in both directions. I like to go side to side and then up and down. And from here I like to extend my leg, either gripping from above the knee or below toward the calf. Depends on how flexible you're feeling. And then the toes flex. And I do use a strap that helps. Or sometimes if I don't have the strap, I just hold or use a towel. Shoulders relaxed. And then the final twist with this side. Crossing over, again extending the left hand and gazing toward those fingers. I'm using my right to just gently guide my left leg toward the ground. Again, 3 to 5 breaths. And then center. A little circle of the knees, little spinal massage. And then I switch, I lengthen the left leg. Bringing the right knee in toward my right shoulder, just circling the ankle. Both directions. Left to right. And point and flex. Extending the right leg. The toes flex toward me. Relax the shoulders. And breathe into the stretch. Maybe inhale. Lengthen the stretch. Exhale, deepen. And for the final twist, the knee bends slightly. Crossing over, I extend the right fingers and gaze toward them. Using my left hand to assist in the twist. 3 to 5 breaths. And then draw back to center. Open the knees out and in. Out and in. And then switch directions. In and out. In and out.